Call meeting to order of the Brownsville Independent School District Board of Trustees regular board meeting scheduled for March 7th, 2006 at 5:30 at the Administration Building. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance. Powers, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one indivisible.
Item 4, roll call. Everyone's present for tonight's meeting. Move on to item 5. Recommend approving the agenda of the regular board meeting of March 7, 2006 with any corrections. Dr. Salkowski.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, item number A1 will not be addressed at tonight's meeting. Also, under contract agreements, item C9, agenda item should be read from budgeted local and category for 2005 and 2006 school year.
Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? Motion and second to approve item 5, tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item 6, recommend approving the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 21st, 2006 with any corrections. Any corrections?
Yes,
Yes, sir, Mr. Munoz, go ahead.
I have one on page 8, 008 and 009. It's item 11. I'd like to add something to it.
Go ahead. What agenda item?
Number 11.
Number 11, I would like to add questions posed by Trustee Munoz regarding reasons for the for refunds without qualifications stated, and questions regarding possible misstated reasons for refunds were to be verified prior to payment. A corrected report was to be issued to the board. This was the $120,000 in refunds for tax from the tax office, and there were at least 12 items that the reasons for the
And I believe they were going to give us a report.
And I've yet to see the report.
Can you speak to it?
The tax people are working on it. We will get it to you, Mr. Munoz.
You said you'd get us that. Okay.
Mr. Sanchez. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it, sir. Thank you.
There's a motion. Oh, no, I need a motion to accept the minutes of the February 21st as read and with the corrections.
I move to accept.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of February 21st, 2006. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Unanimous. We move on to Superintendent's Report. A, conference presentation. 1 has been omitted. 2, presentation of the current and future status of Project GRAD. Dr. Salkowski.
I'm going to have Ms. Pena. I've had Ms. Pena research it and can tell you where we are on Project GRAD. Ms. Pena.
Good evening, Dr. Zolkowski, Mr. Lehman, members of the board. Project GRAD USA is as committed to Project GRAD Brownsville and the Brownsville Independent School District today as if they were when they started the program 3 years ago. As you well know, Project GRAD has supported the Porter Cluster Schools through 4 components. The cluster schools in Project GRAD have done a tremendous job of improving discipline, raising the level of parental involvement, and in raising commended scores through their mathematics program. Since the inception of 2003-2004 school year, GRAD Brownsville has brought in to Brownsville ISD in direct funding $4,300,000. The Department of Education funds passed through Project GRAD USA accounted for 60% of the total budget, with the remaining 40% coming from individuals, foundations, and other external educational funding sources. BISD has provided $330,000 to Project GRAD Brownsville in direct funding during this time period. The situation today with Project GRAD's financial standing has become problematic. Since the elimination of all earmarks from the Federal Education and Health Bill that passed late in December 2005, Project GRAD Brownsville was cut from the Department of Ed's allocation. Project Grad expected to receive about $1 million for this calendar year. Funds to continue to operate the program are severely limited, and without additional revenue, the program will essentially run out of operating money by the end of March of 2006. Efforts from the national level to assist Project Grad Brownsville have included that Project Grad USA has turned to their historical funders such as the Ford Foundation, the Lumina Foundation for financial support. There has also been substantial progress made in securing support for the passage of the Project Grad bill this year. Once the Grad bill is passed, it will secure a more stable funding base for Grad and long-term, with each Grad local site receiving $200 in support of each Grad student. By the way, Project Grad's cluster at Porter has 10,000 students. Grad has substantial legislative support that is growing on a daily basis. Grad Brownsville and USA is committed to passing the Grad bill this year and securing gap-filling funding through their major corporate and foundation supporters. Finally, Grad has launched an aggressive national development campaign led by Project Grad USA Board of Directors with the goal of securing $20 million in the next 3 years. The Grad Brownsville Board decided in January 2006, and I see Mr. Irv Downing in the audience, to try to obtain the funds necessary to carry the program through the end of June 2006 in hopes that Project Grad USA's efforts to be funded as part of the Higher Education Act or that the Grad bill will be successful. The Project Grad Board adopted 3 main positions with respect to the continuation of Grad and their current status. That the Brownsville Independent School District be approached and asked to support Grad Brownsville in the amount of $285,000 through June 30th, 2006. That Project Grad USA is asked to provide $150,000 for the 2007 class of Project Grad scholars to Grad Brownsville scholarship funds. These funds will be matched with the $147,000 that we have already raised by Brownsville for that purpose. Also, pending receipt of funds from BISD, that Project Grad USA also transfers scholarship funds to support the class of 2008 that will be eligible for scholarship dollars after attending the 2006 Summer Institute. That the Project Grad Brownsville Board continues their efforts to support the scholarship fundraising efforts for students in the classes of 2007 and 2008 eligible Grad contracts. The board will also work to support the national legislation for Grad and continue to closely coordinate with Grad Brownsville staff until a new executive director is found for the organization. In essence, board members, Project Grad Brownsville Board of Directors has continued support from USA and has pledged to continue the program, but they need funds to end this school year. The immediate need for Grad Brownsville is to find funding to bridge them over until USA can obtain further funding sources and allocations.
Thank you, Ms. Pena. Dr. Solkowski?
We had a board member request this information. I don't know. We'll take questions.
Mr. Powers?
What I want to know is where we as BISD administration headed towards this. Because I know if they're asking for money, it's got to come through administration and then to the board. So what is our direction that administration is going to give to the board?
Currently, I've had a meeting with the Mr. Downing and ProGrad, and we're trying to give them some support up in Washington so they can get the bill. Because this is only one high school and we have 4 other high schools, $285,000 is quite a bit of money, and we don't know if we're going to get any backup or even be reimbursed. So currently, we're just kind of watching what they're doing in Washington, and we still have to collect for some other, I guess, in-kind services that we're working with. But we just kind of put everything on hold, hoping that Washington will come through for us.
So
I worry about I don't mind going out on a limb here, but, we gave exemptions, and what's bothered me probably more than the $285,000 is if they pass the finance bill, Mr. Sanchez and I were talking, if they pass it and they go to a $1 tax rate, we'll be sending $18 million in the neighborhood to the state of Texas. I just don't know if they're going to send 18 million back to us. And that, I want to make sure that we don't lose any money for all 48,000 students that we have in our school district. So we look at different programs, and this is a soft program. We have a lot of soft programs in our school district that hinge on federal money, and local normally doesn't pick up soft money.
So technically, we have till like March 31st.
Yes, sir.
Is that true? Okay.
Dr. Zolkowski.
So what, question, so the position of administration is what, to look at this and come back with a recommendation, or?
We're going to look at it. We're going to wait and see what Washington's going to do. I just hate to get out on a limb with this much money. This is a lot of money that we're paying. It's been a good program, but I'm just a little concerned
You'll
about
have an answer on March 21st?
Hopefully we will. If we need a special meeting in that arena, we can call one, but we're hoping that Washington will come through, and we're going to support Mr. Downing and whatever we need to do in Washington, because we hope we can get something.
So what happens, Ms. Pena, if my address, if funding ceases by when? You have enough funds for what date?
March
31st?
30th, 2006, this
30th.
month, the end of this month.
So
sir.
what happens after that with the kids that are in the program now?
Dr. Zolkowski, with your permission.
Yes.
We have a meeting with Robert Rivera, who's the CEO at the national level, to meet with Dr. Zolkowski to look for transitional plans on how we can best work with them in the transition of ending out the school year.
It is my understanding that students have funding for their scholarships for future, whatever classes that we have for future graduations. So is that in jeopardy, or is that what you would be working as to ironing out those differences or those concerns? Is that what we're talking about? In the event that there's no funding?
Dr.
Ms. Pena.
Zolkowski. Mr. Lehman, as far as I am in information, the information that I have received, and as far as I'm concerned, there is funding for the 2007-2008 graduation classes, students that are eligible and have complied with this contract that has been put out. As far as class of 2009, if students do not attend summer institutes, that is a requirement of the contract, and students at class 2009 will not be eligible because we no longer have that funding or that program available that was stipulated in the contract.
For this summer? When we talk about the Summer Institute, is this year, this
Yes,
fiscal
sir.
year? Okay. And my question there again is, so 2007 and 2008, the, I guess, scholarship money is already in place. That cannot be touched, is that correct? It's not in jeopardy?
That is correct.
Okay. And how many students are we looking at combined?
Basically, there's about anywhere from 80 to 100 students per class.
And then the 2009 has how many pending?
At this point, these students have just been signed up. If you'll remember, the Walk for Success in October signs the students up. The students have to pass. First they have to pass, and we'd have a better picture next year.
Okay. So so administration, so my fellow board members understand what's at risk, if anything at all. Thank you. Any additional comments from board
Mr.
members?
President,
Sorry.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
When you say we're going to wait to see what happens in Washington, what's the anticipated timeline?
We would hope to do something, I don't know what the timeline is in Washington. We're working. I don't know at this point. I've got people calling, and Ms. Pena is working, and I've got people working on this project. This was a project that was undertaken with one high school with feeder schools, and it was a good project. I've had other projects go dry before, and this project is fully depending on that federal money. It's not. I mean, there's a little grants and stuff going on, but the big lump of it comes down through Houston, through here. And I'm meeting tomorrow or day after this week sometime with Mr. Rivera, and we're gonna visit on what we can do, Doc. But right now, I'm not recommending taking $285,000 out of our surplus to fund this project at this time. I think we need to look at some other things. And I have 4 other high schools and 4 other feeder schools And we know when we enter these projects, I've known this for 30 years, when you enter a project and you're on soft money, it can disappear tomorrow. And this is a soft money project.
Thank you.
Mr. Aguilar?
Yes, this is like any other good program. Sometimes the government, at the last minute, decides there's no more money. And we have had experience with us with BISD, with the Community Youth Development, with the Brownsville was sponsoring. After a while, they come and say, you take it over. It was $500,000. I'm pretty sure Mr. Otis is familiar with CYU. Anyway, my point is this. Has Project Grad, Mrs. Pan, you said that you're looking at options. Have you looked at it? What is Plan B in case I don't get these funds? Not to jeopardize the program. Is this $285,000? Is it going to personnel, to pay summer school personnel? Or what is it that need the monies for?
Dr. Zolkowski.
Spain.
Mr. Aguilar, it is my understanding that the funds that are needed are to pay for contractual obligations that Project Grad has had since the beginning of the school year. If I may reiterate, in December they were waiting for $1 million from this earmark, and it didn't come through. And therefore, they are obligated to pay for contractual obligations that total out to $285,000.
And what are these contractual obligations? Can you be more specific, ma'am?
Yes, sir. CMCD, the University of Houston,
Okay.
and that's the discipline program. What has happened, and if I may, Dr. Zolkowski, they have added schools to this year's program. You'll remember the Porter cluster had 10 schools, and last year they added 3 additional schools because of the rezoning, and therefore there had to be some adjustments in the budget to add and train and get new contracts with the University of Houston. And it's very costly the first year of implementation. When you first implement a program, you have to buy the supplies and materials and the teacher training and all that goes with that. And so the first year is the most expensive, and therefore that is what the situation is today.
So most of it is for training, and probably it includes some kind of instructional materials.
Instructional materials, training for the teachers, and for the 3 new elementary schools that came into the cluster just last year.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? Dr. Salkowski, then you'll come back, or you'll give some type of recommendation then on this issue.
We'll review it.
Okay. Then thank you very much. Shall we move on to B, standing board agenda items 3, board calendars. Dr. Salkowski?
I'd like to remind the board, this is Texas Public School Week. We're excited. We did get our reading scores today, and we're up 3% and 6% accordingly. And I do want to thank all those elementary teachers and elementary parents. We have a couple of more times that some of the students can take the test, but we did real well on our test. I'm real proud of our scores. The third grade actually averaged in the district 90% across the board the first time out. So we've got a lot of great things going on in our school district. Tonight we have open house for high schools. Thursday we have elementary open house. And then Friday we have the Palo Alto reenactment, and then we're off for a week, spring break. Come back on the 21st. We have a community coffee. We have a lot of people coming, PTO presidents, business people. That'll be on the 21st at 9 o'clock, and it's going to be at the bowling alley. We'll be discussing several issues, but one of them will be the upcoming bond, and it will be information only presentation so that we can inform the public of our upcoming bond issue on May 13th. We also have a regular board meeting, but at 4:30 we're going to have an insurance committee meeting to talk about a recommendation for property casualty, and then we'll only have one item, just a little discussion before the meeting starts at 5:30. Regular meeting on 21st. 24th we have our district parent committee meeting at the historic Brownsville Museum. The 30th we have our curriculum meeting at 5:30. In April 1st, I know all the board members are participating in the Relay for Life. The cancer will be out at Sam Stadium. Earlier that day, I believe there's a special ed meet there, but the Relay for Life starts at 6:30. We have a lot of community people raising money for the Cancer Society. If the board members do want to walk or participate, you may contact my office. On the 4th, we have a regular board meeting. On the 7th, 8th, and 9th, we have some of our board members attending the National School Board meeting for some training. And then on the 14th, we have Good Friday off, and Easter 16th. 18th is a regular board meeting, and that's basically, we have some other things, but that's all we have coming up, Mr. President.
Any comments, questions from board members? Thank you, Dr. Solkowski. We now move on to item 8, public audience. This is the time for citizen, staff, or students to provide their comments on the board, statements, and questions from the audience. This is the time for citizen, staff, or students to provide their comments to the board. Statements and questions from the audience will not be permitted during other portions of the meetings, so please let us hear from you now if you have comments to present. To have your comments heard tonight, your name and the subject matter of your comments must appear on the sign-in sheet, which is located in the rear of the meeting room. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes to complete his or her comments. With all due courtesy, I will strictly enforce that time limit. If a group of people want to be heard on the same topic, the board asks that they designate a spokesperson to avoid needless repetition. The board has adopted rules to preclude the abuse of open forum by, for example, anyone uselessly repeating the same comment or complaint meeting after meeting. All participants must understand that if your comment, in my judgment, constitutes a complaint against employees or officers, I will interrupt and ask you to stop and direct you to proceed with the BISD's formal grievance procedures, be that of DGBA, FNG, or GF local of our local policies. With those cautions in mind, we will now be glad to hear the general comments. First on the agenda is Mr. Irv Downing, Project Grad Brownsville.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman. I appreciate the presentation that Mrs. Pena made and that the superintendent allowed her to make with respect to Project Grad, and it was really, quite frankly, right on target with respect to the current situation. I think our biggest concern about the March 31st date, just to clarify, is that essentially we need to decide as a local board, the Project Grad Board, to proceed with a summer session that would create the eligibility of scholarship students on the top end of about close to $600,000 in additional scholarships that we raise locally. We also need to clarify the support from Grad USA on that. So that's part and parcel to certainly trying to finish the rest of the school year, and that is something we'll be working to do with respect to the delivery that we do in the school, in the elementary schools, as well as the middle schools and the high school. We understand the funding issues that are out there. We also understand the uncertainties of federal funding, and a bill passing through Congress would not have money to us until 2007 at best. So I just wanted to again thank you folks for the support and for listening to us, and we look forward to working with the superintendent over the next couple of weeks to try to figure out where we can end up on this.
Thank you, Mr. Downing. Next person is Alberto Alegría, Transportation, Pay Raises, and Summer School.
Good evening, members of the board, President Lehman, Dr. Zulkowski, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alberto Alegría, the proud president of the Association of Brownsville Educators. The Association of Brownsville Educators is asking the district to provide summer employment for the transportation employees. We hope that this will be done on the basis of seniority. We realize that all of transportation employees will not receive jobs at the bus barn, but we hope that the other departments of BISD will be able to absorb the remaining employees. Thus, every employee will continue to have work on a year-round basis. Also, it is that time of the year that the Brownsville Independent School District's budget is being prepared, and the Association of Brownsville Educators would like the Board of Trustees to keep in mind the needs of the employees of this district. For the welfare of the students of this district, it is imperative that each bond issue be passed in the upcoming election. Here tonight, I stand before you as a student advocate, and I pledge to you that we will do what is necessary to get each bond issue passed. Once this has been done, we then expect the board to take care of its employees. Summer school host. We're concerned that the increase of students during summer school and the maintenance employees are placed during the same time will create added stress and pressure to accommodate all maintenance needs as well as the daily upkeep of that campus. We, the Association of Brownsville Educators, recommend that extra personnel be considered this year for summer school. We hope administration considers this recommendation because it's the right thing to do. Thank you, and the Association of Brownsville Educators appreciates the time you spend as members of this board. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Alegria. Next and final is George E. Borrego, miscellaneous.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for allowing us to have public audience. Mr. Lehman, Board President, Dr. Z, board members and administrators. I always forget to say it that way. My name is George Borrego, and I proudly represent AOBE. And this past Saturday, I was elected to regional president of the Valley. So I'm going to be sitting on the board of TSTA coming in July for the same pay, by the way. Most of you saw the movie The Perfect Storm? Yes? All these elements that came together to create a humongous, horrendous storm. Well, we have what I call in Brownsville, the perfect bond issue. What are the elements that are coming in to create this perfect bond issue? Austin is talking about lowering property tax. If we have to raise our tax just a little bit, and they lower it a lot, that's going to be good on our taxpayers. They're also talking about pay raises for the teachers, probably with some strings attached, but nonetheless pay raises. The issue of IFA funds, where if we pass this $135 million bond issue, we only have to pay 25 cents of every dollar. And this could be the last year that this is available and that we need to take advantage of. In addition, the BUC was formed, which is called the Brownsville Union Coalition, and we will be asking the BUC for support for the bond issue. So I call this the perfect storm. Everything is coming into place. If we do our work, if we do our homework, we need to provide these facilities for our teachers and for our students, of course. Project Grad, I had no idea what was happening with Project Grad, and it wasn't on my agenda, but it is now. $265,000 is a lot of money for me, but it's a drop in the bucket for what we're getting for Project Grad. I'm wondering if we really should consider the commitment of that money to finish off this year with no strings attached to continue anything else unless DC supports the rest of the program. But I think we're committed. We should help. Our carryover, which Mr. Munoz is very happy about most of the time, would not be that badly impacted if we were to use those $265,000 for Project Grad. It's a good program. It's a good program for the kids. And finally, are we going to join the Chamber of Commerce soon? I hope so. We need to be a part of the community so they can be a part of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Borrego. That concludes the portion of the public audience. Move on to item 9, consent agenda. I have received a list from my colleagues indicating that there is no need for discussion or deliberation on the following agenda items. Under the consent, A, recommend approval of the following general function items. 4. B, recommend approval of the following payments. 5. C, recommend approval of the following contracts and agreements. Number 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. D, recommend approval of the following petitions and applications. 15. E, recommend approval of the following requests for qualifications. RFQ. 16. Under closed meetings, number 10, Roman numeral A, personal matters. 17, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items as read?
To approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? There's a second motion. And a second to approve consent items. All signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimous. We move on to B, recommend approval of the following payments. 6, discussion, consideration, and possible action to pay the membership dues in the amount not to exceed $5,000 from local budgeted funds for the 2005-2006 school year. And that's membership for the Chamber of Commerce, I would take. Discussion, Mr. Munoz?
Yes, Mr. President. I would ask if there is anybody. I'm looking at page 36 of the letter submitted by the Chamber, and it is the letter is listing. There's a bunch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullets marks here listing the reasons why it would be advantageous for us to join. Quite frankly, I don't think probably 5 of them have anything to do with us, perhaps even 6 of them. So having said that, I'm asking, is there anybody here from the Chamber to advocate and make a case for this request? Mr. President?
Was Dr. Sarkowski, was the Chamber notified that there were?
We have the president.
Okay, there's.
If the board would like to hear him.
Yes. Mr. Pettis, I believe? Yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you for coming, sir.
I appreciate you having me here. Wasn't really prepared to answer questions. I don't have the letter that you have in front of you. I imagine Angela Burton sent that to you. But I would like to say that having gotten to know Dr. Z over the last couple of weeks with his passionate, factual presentation about the bond issue and seeing what he has in store for the school district and knowing that the Brownsville Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors is also very passionate about education in this town, I look forward to working with you, and I look forward to y'all joining the Chamber of Commerce. And I really look forward to working with all of you to getting a lot of things done for the kids of Brownsville.
Yes, sir, Mr. Munoz.
May I address Speaker?
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
That's what that's a good answer. We're glad you said that. In the past, we've felt, I'll be very frank with you, we felt slighted by the Chamber in that we've actually been ignored. We haven't seen much relationship between the district and the Chamber. And quite frankly, I think we have a lot to offer the Chamber. Certainly you need us, but we would like to see a program in that we both benefit from interaction. And we know you have an education committee, and we would like to hear from them on occasion. We'd like them to come and perhaps speak to the superintendent or even the board on occasion. And but we feel like we should be included more so than we have been in the past in some of your activities.
May I?
Yes, sir.
Address that. I don't know what all the past issues were. I can't control what people do in the future, nor can I change what people have done in the past. But I can tell you what I can do. And I can control what I do, and I can control the people that I choose to associate with. And what I'd like to do is work with you. The Chamber is a volunteer organization. You know, all of our members work hard, but they've got their businesses, they've got their families. And of course, those things come first and foremost, before a volunteer organization. That's why we need members. That's why we need people who are committed to the community. The kids are the future. The kids are what we are going to be, 10 years from now, 20, 30 years from now. You all are the people most closely associated with the kids. I think right now you've got a unique opportunity to associate with a board, with a chamber that is passionate about education. And that's why I would like to go into the future. I don't know what happened in the past. I can't do anything about it, but I can do something about the future. And I know the board can, my board can, and we want to. And I want to work with you guys. And I look forward to it. I hope you all pass this that's up for vote. I hope you all join the chamber, and I hope we all work together for the kids.
Let me just interject real quick, and then I'll pass on to my board members. Mr. Pettis, in the past, the participation factor. We have, in the past, funded the chamber, and I guess we've given the $5,000 standard fee because of our size, but we were just felt like we were neglected. The chamber does have I understand, a education committee.
We have an education committee, and we have an education reform task force.
And none of us here, or we had no one on board from BISD that I know of. Never been approached. So those things hopefully would change, or could change, or should change. We would like to be a part of the chamber in that we want to be inclusive also. Notification, anytime we have events that we could participate and be part of the chamber, and vice versa. We want your cooperation as you would like our cooperation. We can help each other, and we would want to venture in that cooperation. And I think those were the misunderstandings that, they took our money and then forgot about us. We want to be inclusive, not exclusive. And I think you understand, and I think you're being you want to make it work.
I've published my cell phone number in the progress twice already. I don't get a lot of phone calls, but I would welcome them. And I encourage you to call me. I've made it a priority to come and talk to each and every one of the members that I possibly can, so I can ask the members themselves what they feel is important as far as the chamber goes. One of the things that I've heard is something along the lines of what you're saying. They want information. Our members want information. They want to be able to come to the chamber and get information, and they want to be able to come to the board and to the chamber for guidance on what's going on in the community. And I think we can provide that to them.
That's what I'm talking about. I think at the last meeting, real shortly, we were there was dialogue, and there was very specific and controversial dialogue that I think communication would cure all ills in that respect, that we need to communicate, and we need to be invited as you need to be invited.
Controversy is good. Resolution of controversies is best. And what I've seen from our superintendent, and I do call him our superintendent, what I've seen of him over the last couple of weeks excites me. It gets me passionate about what we are doing at the chamber, and I hope we can work together.
Okay. Mr. Aguilar, go ahead.
Yes, after listening to our speaker, I'm very pleased to see some of the things I wanted to make comment, because I heard a couple of words that I was going to mention it, because I like to see the chamber as being an advocate for education, just like the number 6 is. We are advocate for business organizations and passion for business. I would like to also listen to those words for education. And you have a good source of mechanism in your organization with your newsletter. And it's here, it was music to my ears to say that you have an educational committee. Through the use of the newsletter, you can ask your volunteers, and we all know we have families. This is also volunteer work. And also as a young man, I was involved in many civic organizations in the city of Brownsville, which is my community. But we find time also to do our community service, that perhaps that educational committee can become aware of all the good things we have in BISD, that they could become mentors in our schools, they could become readers in our schools, they can be a lot of things in a classroom that you can spend maybe 30 minutes a month, that be part of the chamber's responsibility to say, hey guys, this goes on in the school district, perhaps you would like to volunteer. And let me tell you that our schools, we volunteer would welcome this volunteer with open arms, and basically that's what we want. If we want to be a team or working together, we need to see those actions also on both sides, our part, the schools and the chamber. So I was glad to see your attitude, your positive attitude, your future endeavor saying we're going to do this. So I'm really looking forward to some of these I don't want to say commitment, at least remarks that you made, because I know that you have another group that you can tell them all you want, and some of them will probably respond, others will not.
There's a lot of things that I can't speak for the board on right now because the board hasn't voted on certain things. However, one thing that I think that we do need to do is ask that you all provide as much factual information to us in as presentable a format as possible so that we can disseminate to our 1,000+ members the factual basis of the bond issue. I think, as the chairman of the board, I think it's critical that our members know the factual basis, know what's going on with this bond issue, and the progress is a great vehicle to disseminate that information. But we've got email, we can do mass emailings, and I would like to see all of our members know what the bond issue is all about so they can make an informed decision. I, myself personally, Frank Pettis personally, since I've been learning about this bond issue, have become committed to it. I think it's a good thing. I can't speak for all the members, but once you start listening to what's going on in this community and with the bond issue, I think people get on board. I may be wrong. I've been wrong many times before, but that's one thing that I think the chamber needs to be doing as a function to its members, as a service to its members, providing this kind of information to the members so they can make informed decisions. And I think this is a critical issue for our children. And that's something we can start on now.
Additional comments?
Members or not members.
Ms. Galvan?
Mr. Pettis, I was there when the Secretary of State came down and spoke about voting and how the handicap were going to use those new voting machines also. And I did see a lot of energy in the chamber, and I do feel that we have a fantastic city, just like you all feel the same. And there's nothing better than having great PR for our city and for our schools. And I do feel that through the chamber we can accomplish that for our schools, and that jobs will generate and income will come to our city because of that. So I certainly support the chamber, and I know we can work together really well as a team.
Well, thank you very much.
Dr. Escobedo?
Thank you. Well, pretty much everything that needs to be said has already been said, but very briefly, this is one item that has certainly seen the roller coaster ride. When I first became a trustee, I didn't realize we were members until it was time to pay you again. And at that time, okay, for whatever reason, we as a body corporate didn't feel that it was an important investment, if you want to call it investment, and therefore it was not approved. After I considered the whole scenario more closely, I realized that perhaps I had made a mistake. I placed it again to be reconsidered. It was shot down quite violently, and here it is again. I think what has happened is perhaps, this is my personal opinion, we've had an attitude of, I need you, no, you need me, but what it boils down to is that both of us are significant factors of the community, and like it's been said several times, we should just try to work together instead of try to determine who needs who the most. With that said, I'm ready to vote.
Well, let me just say this. The kids need us.
Ready to vote.
Additional comments, Mr. Powers?
Thank you, President Lehman. I've been supported for 8 years here, but I've also been a member for 10 years in my business. It is true that the chamber goes hand in hand with BISD. Mike Zidane, you were, I think, the president at the time when we flew to Austin on 76 legislation. We had every dignitary from Brownsville go to State Representative Rene Olivera, went to Senator Eddie Lucio, on the 76 legislation where they came back and gave 3,000 to the teachers. So we had from the chamber to the city to the port to the college to BISD. I'm talking about 20-something, 30-something people in Austin fighting for our teachers at that year. And I was proud to be one of the people over there. And I still have a picture of all our colleagues that were there that Senator Lucio gave us. So I've always been supportive. And I want to just thank you, Mr. Pettis. And I think it is an organization that is necessary in Brownsville. We all live here. We're proud of it, and we're all going to stay here. Thank you.
Additional comments? Okay. Is there a motion to consider the action to pay the Brownsville Chamber of Commerce for this year's
Move.
dues 2000 through 2005-2000 school budgeted funds? Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Second. There's a motion and a second to approve the funding for the Chamber of Commerce for this fiscal year. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Pettis, welcome back. Moving on to C, recommend approval of the following contract and agreements. 7, recommend approval of the Brownsville ISD and Texas State University San Marcos Memorandum of Understanding for the remainder of the 2005-2006 school year and the 2006-2007 school year for the Texas Education Agency's Mathematics for English Language Learners MELL services to be rendered subject to the district's needs and funding. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
There's a motion, a second to approve item 7. Discussion, Ms. Galvan.
Yes, when I came across this, I was really glad to see that it focused on mathematics. And I noticed on page 41 that there's 25 teachers that are, I just would hope that all clusters were included in the selection so that all can have an opportunity to take advantage of this grant.
Dr. Sokolowski?
We're planning on, I went to a site-based meeting in Hannah this morning, and they were already talking about the excitement, but we're going to try to include all of our clusters so that we can spread that training throughout the district.
Additional comments? There's a motion and a second to approve item 7. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimous. Item 8, recommend approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the Brownsville Independent School District and Teach for America McAllen, Texas, in the amount of $60,000 from budgeted local and categorical funds for the 2006-2007 and $30,000 for the 2007-2008 school year, services to be rendered subject to the district's needs and funding. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
There's a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion, a second to approve item 8. Discussion, Mr. Munoz.
Yes, Mr. President. I refer you to page 44 and 45. Question is, I was confused. I don't understand. Is this for $60,000 or $90,000?
Dr. Sokolowski?
Each group we pay 2 years of 30, and that's how. So you have some overlapping groups, is why you see that amount. So this year it's going to be 90. 90 because you're paying the 30 from the year before. You know we have some that are trailing back.
Well, looking at page 45, we see cohort 1, and we approved that in November of '03 for $60,000.
Okay.
Cohort 2, we approved in October of '04 for another $60,000.
Right.
So the way I read this is we would be approving cohort 3 for $60,000, not
Right.
60 plus 30. We've already approved the 30 for
That's
cohort
correct.
2.
60. Is that correct, Mr. Sanchez? It's 60 per 20, right, Johnny? Mr. Pineda?
It's $1,500 per year per person for times
Doc.
20.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Zulkowski. Mr. Lehman, members of the board. Essentially, as you read it, is correct. Under cohort 2, we approved the first year of cohort 2 in the 2005-2006 school year. We have yet to approve the second year of cohort 2 for the 2006-2007. So in essence, it'll be $30,000 plus an additional $30,000 for the first year of cohort 3. So 2006, 2007, we're completing a cohort and we're adding a cohort, and that's what we're asking for here. And then essentially for the 2007, 2008, we'll be adding an additional $30,000. So that's your $90,000 there.
So, but what you're saying on page 45 is cohort 2, the second, the 30,000, the second 30,000 on cohort 2?
That'll cover next year.
Yes. And then moving to cohort 3, 30,000 and 30,000, which equates to 90,000.
That's correct.
But why does it say that board approved on April 19th, 04, 60,000?
The board approved the first part of that, the 30,000.
Not the second half.
Perhaps we could have written it a little differently, but essentially what we were trying to do was demonstrate that cohort 1 for 2005, the current school year, for example, we completed paying the first cohort, plus we added in October of 2004, we added the second cohort.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I clarify this? These are 2-year contracts.
That's correct.
That's why you have overlap.
30 and a 30.
Okay? Does that clarify?
No, I would think that every time we add a cohort, we just pay the 2 years. We
They didn't come in and give us
budget some
60,
money.
we only budgeted 1 year. So that's why they're coming back. Is that the way we understand it?
Well, so then we can only budget for second part of cohort 2 and the first part of cohort 3.
I didn't understand that part when it first came. So it's a 2-year contract, and we were only budgeting 1 year, so they're coming back. We should have just budgeted the entire 2 years.
Yes.
That would have clarified everything.
Right.
And that's what we're doing with cohort 3.
Right,
Okay. All right.
Does that clarify?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional
I
comments?
have a question.
Go ahead, Ms. Galvan.
Yeah, how many of these teachers, what percentage stay and teach in Brownsville, or?
Currently, since we still have cohort 1 and cohort 2, they're currently with us.
Okay.
So only time will tell how many will actually be able to continue with us, but there is a 2-year commitment. Some individuals may want to continue.
We researched that question.
Right. We currently have, as you've indicated, we have 40 teachers currently in our books who are part of cohort 1 and cohort 2 as well. But again, time will tell whether they will want to continue and stay in school with us or not. That'll be separate and apart.
One thing that you might be interested in, Ms. Galvan, is that these teachers come certified, and then they have to take the exit, I believe, and
That's correct.
they pass it on the first trip. So we're getting some real top-notch teachers with Teach for America, and our principals enjoy that. And so, you know, it's a recruiting tool, but we're getting to pick the quality.
Additional comments?
Yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Aguilar.
Thank you. Dr. Z, how many of those 40 teachers are teaching math and reading or English?
We researched actually where they're at. I figured somebody might ask that question because I was kind of curious as how we spread them, or are they at one? How many do you think, Mr. Pineda? You have the list with you, sir.
From the 0405, we have approximately, that I'm looking at here very quickly in response to Mr. Aguilar's question, about 5 teaching science, and that's from the 0405 cohort. And we have approximately 3 teaching math from that particular cohort. From the 0506 school year, we have approximately, just scanning it, about 4 teaching science and 1 teaching physics that I can see here.
That's science.
That's science.
Additional comments?
Just one.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to approve item 8. All those in favor signify by raising hands, saying aye. Aye. Motion carries, unanimous. Move on to item 14, recommend approval to enter into an agreement with the Elections Administrator of Cameron County to conduct the bond election and to ensure that it is done in accordance with the Texas Election Code. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. I'll second.
There's a motion to approve and a second. Discussion, Mr. Munoz.
Yes, sir. I have a few questions and some observations. I don't know. Is there anybody here from the election office?
Is there anyone in the audience from the elections? I don't see anyone.
Hopefully we'll be able to answer some of
Okay,
them,
Doctor.
unless they're too technical. We'll
Go ahead and address Dr. Solkowski.
Okay. The first I'm referring to page 98 and 102. I have questions relative to page 98 and 102. And the first one on page 98 is I see a name as our early voting ballot board judge. This is not the person we normally use. I'm wondering why we changed that name.
Where is that?
This is the early voting ballot board judge.
On page 98?
This is page 98. This is the judge who assembles and processes the mail-in ballots. They prepare them for counting. usually the day of the election. They start 9 o'clock election day. They prepare them for the scanner, and they open up mail-in ballots, and they qualify them whether or not they're qualified. So there's usually that judge and 3 or 4 clerks that judge appoints. But the judge that we normally employ is Minnie Trevino, and I see a different name here. I inquired about this person, and apparently the people that I inquired with are not familiar, do not have any knowledge of this person ever having done this job before. So I would rather stick with someone that we know is qualified to do this.
Dr. Solkowski?
Is that a question, Mr. Munoz?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Pena? Mr. Sanchez, excuse me. Mr. Sanchez has the answer.
If I may, Dr. Sokoski, board members, anytime you have any election administrators appointed to do, they go to the training year in and year out. So it's I don't know the individual in question, but I know that they've had the training. And this is of course, we're contracting with the county, and they have all this personnel. It is the duty of the county administrator, election officer over there, to make sure that all the individuals who are in this capacity to have the knowledge and the training that it is required to comply with the election code.
Yes. Well, it is under the election code. This board has the authority to appoint that judge. Only we can appoint that judge. So that's why it's being presented to us for approval here tonight. Like I say, I was surprised when I saw this name because this is not a person that I know. And when I did find out, when I did ask around, the information that I got was that this person had never worked in that capacity before. You're right. They're all trained to be election judges. I've had some of that training also, but I've never been an early ballot board election judge. I know how to do it, but I've never done it. But I know that Minnie Trevino is available to do it, and she has done it for many years. So I'm wondering why we changed the name from her to someone that apparently has never done it before. So what I'm saying here tonight is we might want to reconsider this person, since we have the authority to name this person.
We're going to stay with our recommendation, Mr. Munoz.
Okay. So if this board decides to, if I ask that we reconsider and substitute the name for someone else, then I guess I would have to modify this.
Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Let me make a comment. Since there's no one here from the county, this item has to be voted on today, or in the window. I mean, can we bring it back on the 21st?
Sir, Dr. Zolkowski, we have some time.
Get that resolved, because I have other issues.
Okay.
I mean, that'll bring up.
Okay.
Mr. Munoz,
I appreciate that. I think I think that we want someone who's experienced doing this. It is a difficult job, and the person that does it normally brings their own clerks. They have the authority to hire their own clerks. And like I say again, this body has the authority to choose the judge. On page 102, I had some questions about the costs of the election. If everybody's looking at 102, I looked at the personnel section in the middle, and I could find very little fault with that. It's just a slightly, probably a little bit high, but within 10%. So I don't have any problem there. What I do have a question about is election night technical support, $3,900. Is this for the scanner, for the Scantron? Because I know that we bring people in from Kansas City, or actually from Kansas, for the scanner support.
Dr. Zolkowski, if I may.
Please.
Mr. Munoz, election night technical support is just that. They have employees that go out to the sites to check the machines, to make sure that personnel is on duty. They make sure that the supplies and the forms and markers are all in place. That's just added support with personnel plus technology.
No, I believe that's incorrect. What they're referring to here is the folks that they bring in from Nebraska to set up and run the Scantron. And the price at $3,900, is that shared 3 ways or 4 ways or what? Because that would equate to $12,000 or $15,000, which seems a bit high to me.
The sharing of the,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Zolkowski, the sharing of most costs are with 3 jurisdictions. Some of them are with 2 because of the city election that there's
Very small.
a section, right.
So
As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Munoz, the election night technical site support, when asked this morning, they told me that that was the added support that they gave to the sites before the end of throughout the day. And you are correct, they use the auto marks and they use the M100s. And it's very important that they use the optical scanners, the chips, to the M100s.
Yeah. The optical scanner will be used to count the mail-in votes, by the way, and that I'm assuming that's who but if that's the case, then the port, the college, and the school district would share probably about equally in that 39 times 3. That'd be about $12,000.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. Then let's move down to the optical scanner. This is one optical scanner for $3,000. Scanner costs $30,000. They can charge us up to 10% of the value of the scanner per election per day. So that's correct. Why is it $1,500? It's divided by 2, obviously. So we're using one scanner, $3,000, and then the net to us is $1,500. Why only $1,500? Everyone's going to be using the scanner for the early vote. Seems like that should be 1/3 or 1/4 of the $3,000.
Ms. Pena.
Mr. Munoz, if you could clarify that question for
Yes,
me?
the scanner. If optical scanner rental, $3,000. That is the normal price that they usually charge per scanner, because the scanners cost $30,000. They can charge 10%. So the $3,000 is a good number. Yet when you go to the right, you see that they're charging us $1,500.
Extension
share.
is $1,500.
Whereas if the port and the college and the city are also using that scanner, why are we paying $1,500 for a $3,000 pro rata share?
Mr. Munoz, from what I understand this morning's conversation with Cameron County Elections Department, the scanners are going to be used for early voting, for people to come in and vote in person, and that is our share of the cost of $1,500 once it's shared with the other 2 entities.
No, that's incorrect. The
Mr.
optical
President.
scanner is the machine that the ballots are counted on. The mail-in ballots are counted on the optical scanner.
Let me interject. Hold on. We're going to be here all night. I think there are a lot of issues, a lot of questions, and I think maybe we're headed to maybe postponing this until the next meeting.
Yes.
But I know that Dr. Salkowski, your staff over here is
Would we
wanting
table
to
this,
say.
Mr. President?
I mean, unless Dr. Salkowski wants to continue. There are issues here that need to be explained, and I think we need a total bill for the election, and then we need to know what we're going to be charged. This is kind of complicated here. Not complicated, it's not very precise, but just to make an issue, is this our bill or the city of Brownsville's bill?
Our bill.
This is Brownsville ISD's.
Let me make a comment.
Because at the bottom it says Brownsville City off, so whose bill is this? Well, it says right there, no?
I know, but it shouldn't.
Well, it shouldn't say
It's
that.
domestic cost.
Okay, so it's a typo.
But there's one other thing.
Dr. Salkowski.
Excuse me for interrupting. We're also charging them, Mr. Munoz, and they could question our charges for our buildings. They say that's too high. You've always been free. I can hear it already. So we're not paying all of this, and we're breaking it down what we're going to do on this. So we can bring all of that back, but this we won't be paying 57.
Okay. Maybe that's what we would like to see. Dr. Escobar?
Well, you pretty much said what I wanted to say. If we're not voting on this tonight, we're not approving it, we should perhaps just reserve our questions to when we have a representative from the Elections Administration to answer them more specifically.
But in a nutshell, I think we need to find out exactly what the entire election cost is, and then what is the appropriate charge to us, so we can dissect it percentile-wise, and not conjecture and say, well, you know, we don't know what the election is costing us. We only know that we've been billed for a portion of the bill, but we don't know if that's the total amount. So is each entity going to pay a same percentile portion? We don't know, or are we?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's a question.
We need to bring, I don't mind bringing this back.
And
but
if we are going to trade off or charge, then we need those numbers also. So hopefully we can come back with a complete report and number of what we need to do and what they
my
need to
staff
do.
put it together.
Okay, is that the council?
It appears from Mr. Munoz's comments that could constitute a motion to table this action, which would need a second and action by the board.
Okay, would I have a motion to?
Motion, second.
To table? Okay,
Yes.
there's a motion and a second to table item 14. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye.
To table for the very next regularly scheduled meeting.
Well, wait a minute. All those opposed? There's 2. So there is 5, 4, and 2 to table this item. So now make a motion to table for what period? For the next
Until
meeting?
the next meeting.
Okay. There's a motion to table this item for the next meeting. Is there a second?
That could be included in the motion to table. It doesn't need to be a separate motion.
There's a motion to approve, sir. I want to make sure that everybody agrees that we want to amend. Isn't that Robert's rules? Then we can.
I'm sorry, you lost me.
There was a motion to approve.
That was on the table. He moved to table. Mr. Aguilar seconded that. You can add the date to that motion.
Then
Once
we
that
have to
motion
agree
is
on the
acted
amendment.
upon, that's it. The motion is tabled.
We have to agree on amending, no?
Or whoever moved and seconded could just amend their motions. That'll probably
All right.
simplify it.
That would have been simplified. Right, Doctor? Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Is that, can we just continue? Can I get a motion to postpone?
The 23rd? March 31st?
Is that correct?
21st.
To postpone until
Yes,
next week.
so motion to postpone?
Move to amend it, to add.
A motion to postpone to the next
postpone
meeting?
until the 21st.
Okay, second. There's a motion to postpone item 14 and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye, raising your hand.
I think.
All those opposed? The motion carries 5-2. Okay, I'll explain to you later, Counselor. Okay, we now move on to closed meeting as oh, sorry about
14.
that.
Oh, we did 14.
That was 14. I got you a little flustered, didn't I? As move on to closed meeting as pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551-071, 551-072, 551-074, 551-082, and 551-084. We move to closed meeting. Okay, board reconvenes after executive session. Let the record show that Dr. Escobedo had to leave. Go back to take up items on A, personal matters, number 18. Recommend approval of campus administrative staff for the 2006-2007 school year for action. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 18. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimous. Item 20, recommend approval of term contractual personnel for the 2005, 2006, and the 2006, 2007 school year. Gear Up, coordinator, counselor, subject to receipt of all outstanding documentation. Motion to approve? There's a motion to approve. In a second, item number 20. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item 25, recommend approval of the proposed non-renewal of a term contract employee at the end of the 2005-2006 school year, SF. Motion to recommend approval to terminate or to propose the non-renewal.
So move.
There's a motion and a second to approve item 25. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye. All those against?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, there's one abstention by Mr. Powers, so motion carries 6. Item 26, recommend approval to discharge and terminate a term contract employee subject to Article 21.215C of TC Code DD. All those in favor? Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So move.
There's a motion second to approve item 26. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimous. There is no consultation with the attorney, right, Counselor?
Sure.
And no real property. Item 20, Item A, 18 and 26. No, item B, nope. Item C, okay. Number 11, announcements. There we go. 30, curriculum committee meeting to be held on Monday, March 30th, 2006 at the administration building at 5:30 p.m. Item 31, next scheduled board meeting of the Board of Trustees is on Tuesday, March 21st, 2006 at the administration building at 5:30. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
There's a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor signify by raising your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Good night, thank you.